Of his birthright, it was all that he had kept. Though he didn't know why he kept it, Parajal had long since given up any nostalgia about his short childhood. The worst thing about the play, though, was the play. Who was this idiot playwright, and what could be done to stop him before he wrote again? "Aye!" Baron Fernell screamed. "I am stabbed!" Enough. That was enough for Parajal. Some light theater in the dark was one thing. To watch an incompetent pretty boy, the hair at his temples whitened to simulate middle age because he wasn't enough of an actor to simply act middle-aged, prance about the stage awkwardly pretending, well, that was not a way to spend the rest of the evening. Enough. Time to go back to the rooms. Or maybe stop by the barracks. The small detachment from Barony Cullinane was billeted in the Imperial Barracks. And perhaps there would be something interesting to do there, or in one of the taverns that sprouted up in the neighborhood like mushrooms on a cow flop. There would be, at least, a fight to get into. The feel of blood on his knuckles, or even in his mouth, would distract him for a while. You did the best you could, after all. He rose and apologetically worked his way to the aisle. There was no need to interfere with the rapt enjoyment of the audience. Then up the stone steps to the exit passageway, just barely conscious of the way he reflexively re-rigged his sword to hang properly at his side, hilt forward, not quite projecting from his cloak. As he walked down the sharp-edged stone steps to the mud of the street, 3 men silently detached themselves from the shadows outside of the theater and moved quickly across the street toward him. If Doreen and Kethel had been there, he would have braced them without thinking of it, planning on faking at the one on the right, then taking the center one for himself, leaving left-handed Kethel the one on the left. Doreen could take the one on the right, and then turn to help him out if needed. Best to get in close, fast, before he found out whether or not they had pistols. And if there were more waiting in the shadows, best to get these 3 out of the way. But he was alone, and they were 3. And he was many things, but he was not a fool. Without warning, Parajal broke from a walk into a run and made for the alleyway. There were cries behind him, which suited him just as well. He added his own. "Fire! I smell fire!" and broke from a trot into a full run, dodging refuse and leaping over a drainpipe, figuring that whoever the 3 were, they'd not be foolish enough to follow an armed man into a dark alley. If they were, they'd find him waiting for a moment at the other end of the alley, and have 2 down before the 3rd one was ready. But he'd only wait for a moment to see if they were fools. 4 others were waiting for him as he exited the alley at a dead run. One held a naked sword in one hand and a flintlock pistol in the other. The second, a short fighting spear, with a brass ferrule at the butt for when he preferred to club rather than stab. The third, just a sword, and the last carried a lantern on a pole. The larger of the 2 swordsmen, the one with the pistol, took a step forward, brushing aside his own cloak to reveal the red and silver livery of the Home Guard, with the embroidered cuffs that labeled him an officer, as though the pistol hadn't. Well, maybe the pistol hadn't, but displaying the pistol had. Parajal's flintlock pistol was concealed in his cloak. He wasn't an officer. "You're the one they call Parajal?" he asked. The one with the spear snickered. "He's sure ugly enough to be." In another country, in another time, Parajal would have had his ears for that. Not out of rank, but in a fair fight, one-on-one. He entered the face for his very private mental book of accounts. Someday, if possible, he would repay the fellow with interest. But that was for some possible future, and this was here and now. And all he did was say, "I am Parajal." The leader nodded. "Very well. The Dowager Empress wants to see you." Parajal could have asked, which one? There were, after all, 2 Dowager Empresses. One, Andrea Cullinane, the widow of the old emperor and the mother of the former heir. The other, Barolyn Fernell, the mother of the reigning emperor, Thoman Fernell. And both Dowager Empresses were in Biemestrin at the moment. along with some others.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.